Bonjour, Kinamagi and Ireland Indigenous, and welcome to this production of the My Math Network. Today's topic, divide 3 and 4 digit dividends. Begin with the essential question of chapter 3. What strategies can be used to divide whole numbers? You have seen us use area models, you've seen us use estimation. There are a lot of different tools at our behest. We had partial quotients, we've had the standard algorithm. Well, today we're going to look at what to do if the problem involves a dividend that is 3 or 4 digits instead of 1, 2, or 3. So the bigger numbers. Don't get scared. It's not that bad. So let's start out with our quick check. I would like you to use a piece of paper or a whiteboard to estimate and show your work. Once you have a chance to go to do this, then you'll come back and join me. So go ahead and pause your video now. Welcome back. Let's go over these. I'm going to get my annotation tool out because we're going to need that. So remember our steps. We have the 13 and the 4. We need something that 4 will go into evenly. And when we get over here, it's 4, 8, 12, 16. 12 is closer. So we put the 12. It's a 3-digit number. So we need it in the dividend. So we need a 3-digit dividend. So we put a 0 there. So it's 120 or 12 tens. 12 divided by 4 is 3. There's still 1 0. There we go. 118 divided by 6. Looking at these first two, we need something that 6 will go into. So as we count it up, there's 30, 36, 42. So we went put the 42. We had a 3-digit dividend, so this needs to be 3 digits. So we place the 0. 420. 42 divided by 6 is 7. There's 1 0. There we go. Number 3. 383 divided by 5. We need something 5 will go into. And that means it's going to be something that ends in a 5 or a 0. So we go 35, 40. Let's go with 40 because it's a little closer. Divided by 5. We have to make sure we have the right number of digits in our dividend. 400 divided by 5. 5 goes into 48 times. There's that 1 0 left over. On this one, it's a pretty simple one. 2 goes into 6 3 times, and there are 2 zeros. And number 5, we have 36 and 9. 9 goes into 36. But, so that's one way you could do it. 9 into 36 4 times and come out to 40. Or you could round this to 36 and 10. So you have just a plain 36. Depends on which way you want to go with that. All right, so let's go into my part of the lesson. How can you apply what you know about dividing 2-digit dividends to dividing larger dividends? And the answer is simple. It's done the exact same way. Remember that we never are dividing our divisor into the entire dividend. There are steps. We're going with, if it's 2-digit, we're going to start by dividing into the tens place. If it's a 4-digit, we start in the thousands place. It's just going to go a little bit longer down the paper and live up truer to the term long division. But the process is the same, no matter if our dividend is 1, 2, or 22 digits long. Don't worry, I won't give you a 22-digit one, or will I? We start with our sample problem. An airplane traveled 1,544 miles in 4 hours. If the airplane traveled at the same speed, how many miles did the airplane travel in 1 hour? So I'm going to get my tool here. Let's see how clean I can be on this. 5 into 1544. And you can copy this along as you go. And remember, anytime we're working through this, if I'm going too fast for you, you can pause the video while you finish writing. So remember our skill of placing the first digit. Will 5 go into 1? And the answer to that is no, it won't. So now I'm going to regroup that one group of 1,000 is 10 groups of 100, and I have 1,500. So how many times does 5 go into 15? 5, 10, 15, 3 times. Now my next step is multiply. 5 times 3 is 15. Subtract. What's 15 minus 15? 0. Now I check. Is 0 less than 5? Yes. So I'll bring down. We get a 4. Of course, I did now just realize that I'm dividing a 5 instead of a 4, but we'll do them both. Little review. 5 doesn't go into 4. 0 times 5 is 0. And we have a 4. I bring down, I get a 44. That'll go in 8 times. 8 times 5 is 40. And we get a remainder of 4. I apologize that we're doing this extra writing. And sometimes it's a really, really, really good idea to double check the numbers you're dividing. Because if you write it down wrong, you're going to get the wrong answer. If I turn this in at 308, remainder 4 miles, Mr. Ireland's marking it wrong. And I'll be like, but what? I did it right. You didn't write down the problem right. So let's check on this. Could I check my work? 300 times 5 is 1,500. 5 times 8 is 40. So 1,540 plus 4, 1,544. We're good. So let's try the right problem now. 4 into 1,544. You can go ahead and write this one as well. I like having a few problems to show you and talk your way through. So the same thing applies here. 4 doesn't go into 1. So I need to regroup that 10 group, or that one group of 1,000 is 10 hundreds. So 10 hundreds plus 5 hundreds is 1,500 hundreds. And 4 will go in 3 times. 3 times 4 is 12. I subtract. I have 3 left. Let's make it a little bigger. 3 minus 3 is less than 4, so I'll bring down, and I get a 34. Now, how many times does 4 go into 34? I can count up, and I know that 4 times 8 is 32, and that's just below, because we can't go over. So I put an 8 in the tens place, because that's what we're dealing with. It's 34 tens now. So we went from the hundreds to the tens. 8 times 4 is 32. And we subtract. We had 2. Is 2 less than 4? Yep. We'll bring this down and get a 4. So what this really means is we had 2 groups of 10 left over. We're going to regroup it as 20 ones plus the 4 ones. We're in the ones place dealing with 24 ones. 4 goes into 24. Oh, I know this one. 6 times 4 is 24. So I can actually just check it right through here. So my final answer, 386 miles in 1 hour. I can obviously check that by multiplying 386 times 4, and hopefully it will get me 100 or 1,544 miles. All right, let's go ahead and clear the drawing. Yep, we were right. Woohoo! We have another problem here. 265 divided by 9, and I was picking numbers out immediately for the simple fact that one of the things that's difficult in math is we get all of these words. Like, we don't care when we're doing the problem what they were collecting for. But I had $265, 9 people wanted to go. How much is left over? What's the remainder? So I'm going to go ahead and do 9 into 265. And of course, I need to make sure that I have the right numbers, because we wouldn't want to do that twice in a lesson. 265, 9. So does 9 go into 2? We need to place it again. So we're going to We're going to regroup that 2 groups of 100 as 20 groups of 10 plus 6 groups of 10, 26 tens. I know that if I count up by nines, 9, 18, 27, 27 is too far. So we're just going to go with the 2. And I'll put that in the tens place because it was 26 tens. So I got to keep it in that right spot, tens place. 2 times 9 is 18. I could subtract. I get an 8. 8 is less than 9, so I'll bring down a 5. I know that 9 times 9 is 81, and that's just less than 85. So I'm going to go ahead and use that one. And I got 4. So the trip can cost up to $29 each. And there'll be $4 left over. Somebody can buy Mr. Ireland lunch with that. Go ahead and write it in if you are following along at home. This is not yet in your book, and that's okay. So let's clear the drawings. And we check. We did good. All right, so let's go ahead into the lesson. Math in My World, example basic. In a 4-hour period, 852 people rode an amusement park ride. If the same number of people rode the ride each hour, how many people rode the ride in the first hour? So we're dividing 852. Get my annotation tool here. By 4. There's 4 hours. And that's going to equal our answer, P for people. We use that term variable when letters stand for numbers. I do advise that you never use I, L, O, T, X, Z, because you may accidentally confuse the person reading your problems. So we do an estimate. Now I would estimate this into 800, but they want 200 or 900. So we know that it's going to be 225. If you go 800, it's about 200. But if we go by our rules from earlier in this chapter, we'd want something that is easily divisible by 4. All right, so now we're going to start step 1. And you'll notice that as we go through this page in the book, let me grab my copy of the book. There it is. Underneath the whiteboard. This is page 201 in your packet, and I do expect you to follow along and write these numbers in. So first part, and you'll notice that your screen doesn't look the same as mine. Your steps 2 and 3 are on the right-hand side. Mine isn't. So I'm just going to go through, but tell you the steps. Step 1, divide the hundreds. Ones, tens, hundreds. How many times does 4 go in 8? Hopefully you said 2. 2 times 4 is 8. So now I subtract. 8 minus 8 is 0. Because 0 is less than 4, I'm going to bring it down. And I have 5 tens. How many times does 4 go into 5? Basic. 1 times 4 is 4. 5 minus 4 is 1. 1 is less than 4. So now I'm going to go to the ones place. 4 divided goes into 12. 4, 8, 12. That sounds like 3 to me. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 minus 12, 0. So our answer is 213. So 213 people rode the ride in the first hour. I can check it. 213 times 4 is 500 or 852. Make sure this is written in. If you have to pause the video to do that, feel free. All right, so let's move forward here. You can see the answer was 213. And there's how it's written in on your page. All right, go ahead and turn the page to 202. And I'm going to do the same here. We're going to do 7,946 by 6. Don't freak out, because no, you're not. You're going to be doing first 7 by 6. And then you see these 2-digit problems all the way down. I'm going to go ahead and get my annotation tool. How many times does 6 go into 7? Let's move this board up here a little bit. 6 goes into 7 one time. 1 times 6 is 6. Remember identity property of multiplication. So out of this huge problem, I suddenly just did 7 by 6. 7,000s by 6. I subtract 7 minus 6 is 1. And I could check my work by going 1 plus 6 is 7 if I needed to. 1 is less than 6, so I'll bring down the 9. So now I'm to step 2, in the hundreds, because that extra group of 1,000 was into 10 hundreds, so 19 hundreds. How many times does 6 go into 19? 6, 12, 18, 24. Nope, 18 is good, and that was 3. 3 times 6 is 18. (19 minus 18 is 1. 1 is less than 6. So I'm going to bring down the 4, and we're going to get into the tens place. That one group of 100 regroups as 10 groups of 10. So we have 14 groups of 10. 6, 12, 18. So we just want to go twice. 2 times 6 is 12. That one I'm sure most of you already had mastered. 14 minus 12 is 2. So that 2 groups of 10 is going to regroup as 20 groups of 1. Bring down the 6, I have 26 ones. If 6 times 2 is 12, I can double that and still not get to 26. So I'm going to start with a 4. 4 times 6 is 24. I subtract, I got a 2. So my remainder is 2. 1,324. Remainder, niche. Make sure that's written in. If you need to pause the video to do that, feel free. All right, so I'm going to clear my screen. You can see the answer. We did all right. And the filling in purposes, 1,324 times 6, 7,944, plus 2, 7,946. Remember, to check division, we use multiplication. They are inverse operations. All right, let's do the guided practice, and then you're going to have an opportunity to do a few on your own. Two into 20, 268. I wanted to say 20 groups of 10 already. Jumping the gun. So how many times does 2 go into 2? If you said 1, you're doing all right. So we put a 1. 1 times 2 is 2. Anytime we multiply by 1, it's that number. We subtract 2 minus 2 is 0. So now what? You bring down the 6. How many times does 2 go into 6? Good. 3 times. So I put the 3 up here. 3 times 2 is 6. 6 minus 6 is 0. Bring down the 8. 2 goes into 8 4 times. 4 times 2 is 8. 134. So we have here, does the quotient of 945 and 8 have 2 or 3 digits? Basically, if your divisor is smaller than the hundreds place, you know it's going to be in the hundreds as a quotient, so 3. All right, so let's go ahead and do some independent practice. And apologize for the phone in the background. The week before the election, it doesn't stop ringing. We're going to do some independent practice. I want you to do number 2, and then we'll model your answer. And then, so go ahead and pause it, do it, and come back. Welcome back. I'm going to grab my annotation tool. 5 goes into 5 one time. 5 times 1 is 5. No, it's 5. So to subtract, I get a 0. 0 is less than 5. I'll bring down, I get a 9. So my 9 groups of 10. 5 still only going to go in one time. 1 times 5 is 5. Subtract. You get a 4. I'm going to bring down. Get a 5. 5 goes into 5 1. Well, 5 goes into, 45 9 times. 9 times 5 is 45. Get a 0. My answer is 119. Why don't you go ahead and do numbers 3 and 4, and then we'll come back and check your answers. Welcome back. I'm just still cleaning up the video from the last annotation tool. You saw our 119. If you had 156, remainder 1, and 1,163, you're doing pretty well. If you didn't, let's do a couple more. Think back to your process. Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. Divide, multiply, subtract, check, bring down. So go ahead and do these 3 problems. My advice is you write it so that it looks more like this. So your divisor is on the outside, and you have like that. So go ahead and pause video. I'll see you on the other side. Welcome back. Let's see how you did. Number 5 was 172. Number 6 was 2,139, remainder 1. And number 7, 1,335. At this point, you should have a good grasp. If you don't, I do encourage you to check our office hours at 2 o'clock. I'm more than happy to help you there. Or you may even consider doing a little Google search for Khan Academy and three-digit dividend division. You will find something that'll show you yet another way of presenting this information. At this point, I would like you to go ahead and do the assignment. And that is on page 205 and 206. On 205, it does have your steps as a reminder. You may do the paper copy, or you may do the digital form. If you do the paper copy, please make sure it is sent back to me with your name on it at our next paper exchange. If you're doing the digital copy, make sure you answer the question saying, what is your name? It is okay if you choose to do the paper copy and then type the answers in to the digital form. But if you do that, please do still send the paper, because it gives me something tangible to evaluate how you're doing. I know you all do well. Can't wait to see these papers. You all have a Minogijigad. Bumblebee.